Well, hello and welcome to the #1 youthful breakfast show in the world. Raise hashtag what are you saying? Wow, the weekend is here again quickly, as though Monday wasn't 2 minutes ago. Anyway, the vibrant Lady Vibe and I are here to give you just the show you need to start your morning. And today's conversation is one for the books. The country Zambia has set a new standard, and with every other great initiative we see internationally, we're just wondering if this is what Nigeria could emulate. But of course, before we get started into the newspapers and our hot topic for today, allow me to introduce to you on this table the one, the only, the gorgeous, the incredible, the fantastic Lady Vibe God's Beauty Israel.
Hey, come on. Only me.
Only you. I had to go the extra because yesterday you accused me of giving you a shallow intro.
No, it wasn't an accusation.
And then I felt so bad, like, honestly, how can a whole God's Beauty Israel not be giving the intro that is needed?
It's the name. I think sometimes I always want to ask myself, what's your name? It's a long one, it's strong, it's heavy, but yeah.
It's unique.
Thank you so much.
I remember one time we had a guest on this show, and then he had to just give a feedback on how everything went.
Yeah.
And funny how he couldn't remember Okiki and my name, right? Okiki's name and mine. And then he remembered yours. He was like, please help me appreciate God's beauty. I'm like, why would they remember? One with the big head that is here and the unique name. But of course, it's always a pleasure to have you on the table.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Now,
really
today is Friday. I'm feeling on top of the world. Everybody feels that when it's the weekend. But I want to ask you a question to give us a bit of serious vibe here. From Monday to Friday, that's 5 days. That's 24 hours times 5. And we've had experiences with many people, sometimes commuting, sometimes being in the workplace with friends and all. So I want to ask you this question. What lesson would you say you were able to garner from your experiences for the week?
Relating with people.
Yes, relating with people.
That's a lot, because again, I feel like when it comes to relationship with people, it's something that you learn at the job. Every day, that's what you're doing. Do you understand? So sometimes you're meeting certain persons and you're wondering, why is this person this sweet? And you're meeting another pair like, this one is the wind, he's a witchcraft from my village.
Interesting.
You understand? Yeah, but I think my lesson, I don't know if it's called a lesson, but again, it's something that I'm already, conversant with, which is the fact that humans are humans. Do you understand? And people, even though they tend to tell you that they are different from other persons, but trust me, we are all the same. Do you understand? So it's just really understanding that people are like this, but not, again, making myself very rigid to them. So of recent, let's start with this. I had a very serious issue with someone because I feel like he kind of reported me to a higher authority, even though probably the authority doesn't even know. But things where people actually don't see it. She kind of, reported me to to the higher authority and all. And when I got that piece of information, I felt like it wasn't going to be an easy one because, again, knowing her has been quite difficult for me. She claimed to be someone neutral. I mean, to every other person, she's a sweetheart. But like I said, I'm an overthinker, so it's easy for me to know that this person is not really who people think that she is, even though she tries as much as possible to be that sweetheart. Do you understand? Which is, again, a problem for me because I don't know why people would just be hypocritical. Do you understand? Be normal, be who you are. If you're not sweet, you're not sweet. Do you understand? Certain persons will actually find you sweet. And it's just like, like I said, it's something that I've come in terms with. It's not me to have an issue with the fact that somebody's being hypocritical. I just understand it that, okay, this is how this person wants to be. And we keep it moving. Do you understand? So, I mean, just yesterday, one of my, senior men were actually talking to me and it's like, oh, this particular person, you don't do full and talk. And I could not answer it because, again, like I said, I have a personal issue with her. I feel like for every time I've, had conversations with her, it has always been difficult. To every other person, she's a sweetheart. To me, nah, she's a ton of
not seeing the sweet
exactly, I'm not seeing it. So, again, it was a problem. But waking up this morning, worshiping God and all, I just remembering everything that I've had conversations before with, like, my senior guys and all. Then I just understand that, okay, what's the need of not even speaking to this person? Let's be for real. What's the need?
This is already looking like a vulnerability podcast.
So what's the need? But yeah, I think I mean, overall, it's just people should understand that humans are humans, right? Try as much as possible to to have peace with you. If having conversation with someone will help gain that peace that you need. I think you should do
You
that.
should do
If you
that.
need to take some time off, have to probably talk to persons, have maybe therapy or whatever. But for me, it's literally just having peace within yourself. Of course, you have to, follow God's words and all of that. So, in as much as you want to be friends with everybody, try as much as possible to also create boundaries and all. So, yeah, that's literally like the lesson for me
The
today.
lesson for you.
Week.
The way you have dished out this lesson, I'm wondering if mine can be taken.
Well,
But mine
tell
is,
me.
I would say, like recently, somebody spotted something and told me that, Oluchi, you've been quite irritable recently, and I was a bit defensive towards that kind of criticism because I felt like, why would you say that? If I see rubbish, I talk about the rubbish, I say I don't like it,
Oh, wow.
and we're done with. But then it made me realize that maybe sometimes we should. I know that we always have this guard that we wear, this shoulder pad of I don't take nonsense, but sometimes you have to be human and allow people to be human.
Yeah.
So something remarkable happened in the bus this morning. Somebody was eating very loudly beside me. So there's a psychological explanation to why you feel irritated by people's
of course. Sounds
loud
and all.
eating.
Yes.
And I was quite irritated. I felt like this early morning now. Why are you eating so
My
close?
God.
Then I realized that you have done this before. You've also eaten in the bus where somebody probably felt.
True.
But when it now comes to us, it feels like, oh, this is against my belief, my policies and all. And I just had to just turn a blind eye or turn a deaf ear, as they'll call it, and just let it pass. The lady is hungry. She needs to snack on something.
Yeah.
It will be over in the next 2-3 minutes.
Do you
You don't need to
understand?
make a fuss
Yeah.
out of it. And then it made me realize that allow humans to be human. So I'm taking that word to heart this quarter that we're in to ensure that, yes, of course, I should stand my ground. My policy should be straight. Don't do rubbish around me. But of course, not become too irritable. And that's the lesson I've learned this week.
I like that.
All right, so we're going to take a short break and we'll be highlighting 2 fascinating milestones, of course, which will be displayed shortly. And after that, we're heading straight to the papers this morning. And trust me, we have quite interesting things to banter about, from the traffic to tariff to the international papers. You do not want to miss it. So please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. Welcome back, people. Thank you for staying with us. This beautiful, vibrant Friday table. Of course, we'll scan the pages of Punch, The Guardian, and The Independent.
All right, straight into the Independent newspaper. Top headlines we have: Prince Harry hits out a blatant lies over charity raise roll. Beneath that, we have I Spy, the emoji sending anxiety rates. Soaring main headline, we have Trump aftershock. UK draws up hit list of United States goods to tax. But the sideline, we have the special report, the illegal party drug helping Ukraine's troop. So let's talk a bit. I mean, this is just giving, more updates on what we talked about yesterday. And this one says, Trump aftershock, the United Kingdom draws up hit list of United States goods to tax. Donald Trump's administration has imposed new tariff, that's extra taxes on British goods entering the United States. In response, the UK is preparing its own list of American products. You see what's going on, Abby? Like whiskey and motorbikes that may be taxed in return. If the UK taxes American goods, it could trigger a trade war where both countries keep increasing tariff on each other's products. This would make goods more expensive, disrupt businesses, and create economic uncertainty. Now, a full-scale trade war between 2 major economies can have global consequences like hurting businesses, increasing inflation, and even affecting jobs. Investors are already nervous, as seen in the falling stock market. The EU is also worried that this could damage the world economy. I'm not going to lie, it will damage the world economy. If these two person, these two countries go into this trade war that they are about to go in. So yesterday, we had a conversation about the fact that, from initials, we've heard normal stories about the 10% that Donald Trump has, imposed on tax goods that are imported into the country, that's into the United States, right?
Yeah.
And if you remember, the UK Prime Minister came out, that should be like on Wednesday or so, he came out to state that, instead of, we having all of these, taxes imposed on these goods. Okay, this is how we'll do it. For him, he felt like it was important for him to create a balance. And then he told, the United States that, okay, each of this, the United States tech businesses, right, that in line with them, their taxes should just be reduced a bit. So, he wants to just reduce their taxes a bit so that there can be a balance. So instead of you just imposing too much on taxes, actually there should also be something that you're benefiting while you're benefiting. Because I'm very sure, just like you and Okiki stated, probably, Trump is feeling like, the other countries are, eating more or gaining more than them.
Us, yeah.
Exactly. So for Stama felt like it was important for them to okay, I see your point. Now let's also reduce from our own end as well. But somehow Trump didn't get that, and that's why yesterday we talked about the fact that he also increased another 10% again on British goods, right? Now, we also I told you guys that we don't know yet what the Starmer is going to do from now. But again, whatever that is going to do is not going to be like a good one. And here it is now. It's not good. It's not even looking good, because right now all the American product like whiskey and motorbikes, the Prime Minister, that's the UK, are already thinking of adding more taxes. Exactly. So in now it's 50-50. So, and let me not use the word petty, but if UK decides to put this one on ground, I really don't know what Trump is going to do. I feel like Trump is also going to probably add in more, impose more taxes to British goods and all. That would just call out for a trade war, and they will start increasing and increasing. But again, these two people forget that it's the consumers that will be the one to, face the brunt of all of these things. Exactly. So I really don't know what exactly is Trump issue, because since Stama came out to state that all of these taxes that, that are already imposed for the big tech people, let's reduce it a bit. I feel like Trump would have just seen that as, a good way of this man, trying to be good and trying to, he see your pain, he see the angle you're coming from, and let it just be a balance. And let's keep it going. But this one that yesterday wasn't looking funny, the 10% that he increased, I'm very sure that's the reason why the UK government are looking at also increasing theirs as well. So yeah, that's literally what I have for you guys in the Independence newspaper. I just hope that by Monday, all of these things will be resolved.
Sometimes I feel like when we're closer to resolving issues, even looking at the war incident, for example, there's just this power play that comes in where a particular, maybe the 80% of different individuals could be the beneficiaries of this resolution. But there's usually that 20%, that one man, two men, or some sectors or some administrators that feel like, no, if this eventually settles, even though it was going to favor the masses and everybody, it still will not favor me as I want to. So I think it's a major problem across board, where happening like very, very swiftly beyond our imagination, but then something just comes to disrupt it entirely, and we're going back to the very beginning again. But you know what? I think the long-term solution to this kind of problem that we have, because in the Nigerian papers, Nigeria itself is already reaching our side, because this whole tariff thing, they already slammed it on us as well.
So people say 3% yesterday or 100%.
When I read the story for you today, you'll be quite shocked. So I think maybe every nation now should start working towards that real independence. Start making your things yourself. Start making your things, and maybe the whole export and import should be really reduced, so that nobody is blaming anybody for tariff and all of that.
How much can a country actually make? That's the reason why we are all like, all together. That's exactly from each other.
But now that
it's just like the way geography will tell you that in certain places there are certain things here, certain minerals that these other people don't have. We know what the Indians and the Japanese and all of these people are good at. The coffee, Indonesia. We know this. The tiger country or whatever they call them. These people. The kind of things that they have in their country and what they actually how we, the other people that are associated with them, how we benefit from them. So I feel like that's why we are like all together, and that's why even when there's the EU and all of these organizations that are there. Do you understand? It's so that we can, you know, foster more relationship, have communication,
Except
be
we
able
can
to help
have
each
a
other out.
policy that binds everyone together,
I mean,
where they just have to succumb
you don't
to
have
this
a choice.
Yes. Except we have something like that. I think
wow.
that balance we're looking for is still a very, very long story that we're going to tell later. So if we have policies, or maybe these unions that unite different countries, come and say, whatever is going to happen with the export and import, the trade markets generally, this should be the equilibrium for everyone. But if that's not going to happen, every country will want to do what they think is best for them. And whenever such is best for a country, it's not going to be best for the other country. So that's the dynamics that we have. And the sad thing is that it's the mass that suffers for it. People will say it's the economy. Yeah, eventually it's the common man that suffers for it. So let me take you through the Nigerian paper. I would start with the Punch, so that I can just follow up on the Nigerian details to the whole tariff issue. So Afenifere rejects National Assembly bill on indigenouship by marriage. Foreign trips, opposition slams Tinubu and Shetima for wasteful spending. Hyenas nearly killed me in kidnapper's den, ex-NYSC DG. Botched recall, PDP Natasha alert INEC as petitioners mobilize constituent. Of course, the major headline screams, Trump's tariff threatens $10 billion US-Nigerian trade, 25-year duty-free AGOA partnership in danger, Nigerian-American Commerce Chamber worries. Nigeria's crude revenue may plunge as US begins enforcement on Wednesday, and NACC-IMA raises concern. Below that, we see maximum tears. Lagos commuters groan as Independence Bridge closure bites hard. Oyo tightens security ahead of Alaafin's Saturday coronation. And the last story here reads, Senate to review tax reform bills after Easter celebration. Of course, I like to take two stories here. The tariff story, just to give you feedback on what's happening. Let's bring it home. I'm sure we've been talking about the tariff with other countries and the USA. Now it's with Nigerian. And let me give you the story before we go to the traffic story. And, of course, the recent interview from the governor of Lagos State yesterday, I think. So let me read what I found. All right, it says the United States has recently imposed a 14% tariff on goods exported from Nigeria to the U.S. And this decision stems from what Trump described as an unfair trade balance, pointing out that Nigeria currently imposes a 27% tariff on American goods entering its market. The U.S. government sees this as an unequal relationship and is using the new tariff as a way to level the playing field and protect American industry. Now, this is a little bit different from the other story that you've been reading in the independent papers. Nigerians are the one that actually imposed a 27% tariff on goods that they export to Americans. And President Donald Trump has come out to say that this is unfair. It's unfair. He said how that when it comes to home, that's when people know that it's unfair. It's unfair to you now when Nigerians are the one doing it to you. But that's the same thing that you're imposing to other countries. But of course, trust the United States not to take such initiative. I don't know what gave us the boldness to go ahead to do 27%.
I think, again, probably because of like the Naira and all of that.
Whatever it is, I think critical consideration should have been put in place before having to come up with things like this, because there are consequences to this. Sure. Eventually now, the United States, they are also giving back their own, you know, how would I put it? They're also doing their own percentage, whatever, to make it now strain our own economy as well. So it's almost like, oh, you're doing this to the tariff, but also doing this to you as well. And it's really quite crazy. And I wish that before decisions are made, look at the consequences of these things. I don't know what would have made us to think that we can play on the same field with other international bodies, whatever the reasons are. I'm not trying to play us down, but when it comes to import and export, we haven't really gotten there yet. So I think some consideration should be made to the kind of percentage we put on this thing, so that we do not strain the relationship we have with other countries. What we're clamoring for is to have more of our goods exported. Right. For the longest, it's been us just importing goods. So to have more of our goods exported, you have to see a way that they can also be favored in that sense. So putting a strain makes it look like that export dream that you want to, you know, have higher than the import is going to be washed down, because you are not applying some certain wisdom to it or consideration into it. And I feel like maybe we should really look at this thing so that we can come back and not offend Donald Trump.
Maybe small time. But you guys should say it.
Using this very
This
lightly,
man
but
just
that is what it
enters
is.
it what day, and there's already chaos in the land. I'm so sorry.
Well,
It's
I
all
think
over.
everybody expected many of the things that are happening now.
Wow.
Many
we never
people
drink
expected.
water drop cup for a matter.
Many
Hope you
people
know.
expected. I think Kamala, is it not recently, Kamala Harris, she was doing an interview somewhere, and she was mentioning something like they deserved what's happening, or they knew that this was coming. So it's giving the same power play that we have in Nigeria, where Peter Obi and Atiku will say, oh, Shibai told you guys.
That voting me.
Well, let's see. And then the story of this whole traffic thing again, I want us to really discuss this. When I watched the interview yesterday, I would not say I was so impressed by certain comments that were made.
Tell me.
So the first one that seemed a bit, Nigerians took it in a very sarcastic manner, was when the governor came out to, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu came out to say that, you know, Nigerians should apply wisdom at this time. Something about knowing when not to go out and when to come in. I can't remember, like, very critically how the words were put out. And I felt like people that are agitated already with what happened in the most impromptu manner, this is not what you need to tell them. I mean, I feel like communication problem is what makes a lot of these things linger. The independent bridge, or whatever bridge they were trying to construct, I don't think it's a bad initiative. It's something that is needed. And I think it's about 3 years in the making.
Yeah, that they would have done that.
Yes, I think they've had this project in mind for about 3 years, a very long time. So in that long time, what was really being done? That's when communication should have been made. You can't tell people that, oh, at this time, no, don't. I think it was something around, don't go to the island if you don't really need to. I'm like, many people on the mainland have their 9-to-5s on the island, right? So, of course, if people had known ahead of time, they would have probably stayed inside if it's not so serious. But I felt like this is not the comment we need to have. And many times we see some of these officials, though I appreciate the fact that he came out to take responsibility, but many times we are more concerned with the before than after coming to give us a sorry. The sorry doesn't change the fact that people were stressed. People got home by 4 a.m. in the morning. I was telling someone that if you get home by 4 a.m. in the morning, you should have... I mean, I'm not going to work the next day.
Of course, obviously.
But funny how not every office is going to accept that. If you don't come, it's query. And many times, if those ones are under probation already, if they're under probation already, that's already sack letter. So a whole lot of things happened this last few days, and it's been terrible. I was just privileged to see just 3 hours of the traffic, and I was so cranky. I was not wondering that other people that stayed 11, 12 hours.
Imagine.
It's terrible. So next time, I think proper communication should be made. Alternatives. If you're going to put people in jeopardy, create alternatives that will make us not talk.
Right.
Create alternatives that will make commuting easy. Lagos is a big metropolitan city. Like, we are that big. We're industrious. We do a lot of things. And that's why many people don't even like staying in Lagos as much, but you will still have people there. So if you're going to cause a strain to citizens, to industries, create alternative and let communication be beforehand, not when the chaos has been done. There are different microphones saying, we're sorry, this is happening. The sorry really doesn't change anything. I think we're even seeing that in human relationship. Sorry after death is really not needed. All right, let me take you through The Guardian, the last paper for today before our hot topic. I'm running out of breath because Nigerian papers will make you run out of breath.
You see why I always like sticking to international.
That one didn't make you run out of breath. Interesting.
It's easy peasy. I'm so sorry.
Wow. Okay, here, the major headline reads, How Vandalism and Scavenging Ruin Critical Assets Damages Economy. Will Lagos ever tame excesses of its ag bureau? Bode Judge decries state of nation handling of Natasha Rivers crisis. Petitioners adamant on Natasha's recall as INEC halts process. U.S. reciprocal tariff costs stare as WTO warns of trade contraction. Above that, we see Rivers Sole Administrator considers new 2025 budget. Afenifere cautions over indigent status bill and cite ethnic tension and violence. DHQ dismisses Niger MN TIF withdrawal and vows to eliminate Turgid. This story is resurfacing again. I just want to talk about this whole Agbero. Still on the Lagos story. You know, living in Lagos is like a full-time drama, like reality TV show, honestly. Everybody has, and sometimes when you see some creatives write out stories about Lagos, it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But even though it's interesting, it's reality. It's not just fiction they are trying to put together. It's the reality of living in Lagos. And for the longest time, we've had this excesses of agberos. If you don't know who agberos are, they're called touts. Is there a more tush name to call those guys? And I think it's a menace, honestly.
Oh my
and we need to start taming this thing. There have been contentions and different school of thought that say it would be quite difficult to eradicate these people totally because of those that sponsor them. In Lagos, we need to start not making some things normal. I don't know at what point we got comfortable with making Igboros and touts on the street normal.
What do you want
to do exactly? It felt normal to just see this particular union traumatize people. In the sense that, I mean, sometimes your bus can be going, because I take public transport and I don't have a car. Your bus can be going, I just want to get to a place very quickly, and somebody is harassing the driver to pay certain certain amount.
And emphasis on Owomida, like my own money.
I don't know.
Make it make sense
there's no how. Yes, there's no how anybody can make that particular tradition make sense to me, because I don't know how it is in other states. I've lived in Lagos almost all my life, and I think this is one thing that we have not addressed. It's one thing people will just talk very briefly on, move on to the next hype story, and nobody is revisiting this. Why? Because we expect it to be a norm. We're expected to see people with certain uniforms across the street harassing drivers to get money that is used for what? Some will say, I don't know why there's this claim to own a certain part of the land where if it was that this money was collected for probably the roads and everything, it's different. But even at that, there should be better structure to how it's being done. It's almost like harassment. It's big time harassment at this time.
There's a lot of things I've heard in this Lagos that I thank God for. Probably, I don't know if it's growth or what it is exactly, but I no longer get agitated or even angry about it. I remember there's one point in my life where I hate seeing those people, like emphasis on it now. When I enter a bus and they are trying to call, because you know me, I like to sit like at the front and all of that. I will just tell you in the pidgin that you understand. Or Benny, no vex. I bet if you go the other side, make you know. See, you they pour me spit, more no talk too much. Just let me go there.
I think it's annoying. I've not yet received slap. Have you seen some of these people?
I'm from Ajegule. You can't take that out. Yeah. When we get to that place, we behave like the way that we are. Hey, and when it comes to a tush environment, that's it. But honestly, it's something that I really hate so much. But then I've come to understand that, I mean, even if you would say you want to arrest them today, what would you do? I mean, if you look at it, most of the times you get to understand that the bus drivers and all, their hands are tied. Yeah. Because again, the same police officers that you want to report to, not vague to allegedly, but I hear said the police will then get percentage for the things where the guys they collect. You understand? So what exactly will you do? Even you won't understand. You also understand that the money that is collected, there are different branches, even down to the local and the state and again allegedly. You understand? But literally, if you look at the branches, who you won't fight, what exactly will you do? There are so many things that when I think about this, you know, when you were actually speaking, it also made me remember. You know, this Omonile, like I'm not sure that's the right word.
I think the ones that go to houses when you're about to build a house.
Make it make sense to me why I'm paying somebody for me to do it, like, I mean, to have like a zinc or something on my like, no, it's annoying. Like, there's so many things that when I think about in Nigeria, I remember when my dad was like, you know, building his house and all. And the next thing, he's always complaining, but there's nothing he can do. Because even if we take it to the police, they'll play you, they'll collect your money, and that's all. There's really nothing you can do. Make it make sense to me. After I've paid you for the land, I'm still going to pay you for putting gates. I'll pay you for bringing cement. I'll pay. Come on.
You are on their land, so you have to pay to be on that land.
Do they not pay you for the land? I'm confused.
To wrap up this conversation, young people, because there are some areas where young people don't have opportunity or they're not exposed to education and all. And it feels like, oh, this is a great vocation to get into in case I do not make ends meet for my enroll as an apprentice. No jokes,
because right now they have uniform, they have ID cards, they have...
It's a union already.
It's a union, my babe. Like, in short, they have hours that they are working. Or when you go work from like early morning, that kind of 5, and I start to like 8, you go come.
And the character of these people is what is outrageous as well. People that are unruly. Very unruly. Sometimes, even if you don't get the money, you see them hitting at buses.
That's
And if
what I'm
you're
saying.
unlucky to be at the back, it's
like
traumatic.
those bus drivers, their hands are tied. Because if you not give, first of all, it's the way they even ask for the money. Oh, 1 million, my guy, am I working for you? That particular sentence, it gets me so angry. I'm not working for you. It's okay to say that, oh, okay, you know, say, as you did, they do it for you now, they no go, you know, if you pass until you pay one amount. I understand. But telling me, oh, 1 million, my guy, I'm not working for you. Do you understand? So literally, they make it look like it's their right to collect certain amount of money from you. And if you don't do that, they'll break your mirror or they'll collect your seat. It's short.
Or remove your door. God help you, your door is not your car door is not okay. It's a sad one indeed.
There's a lot happening in Lagos.
But that's the complexity of living in Lagos, Nigeria. A wonderful state, I must say, but we have our drama as well. We'll take this short break, and our hot topic for today, we even get you to shout more than God's beauty on the table today. Of course, we're discussing we want to look at the dynamics of, leaves in workplaces in Nigeria. Zambia did a thing. I'll let you know when we come back. I want to see if this is something Nigerians can emulate. Of course, this is where we need your thoughts very, very critically. So we'll take this short break, and we'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
This season on Heartlines, we're committed to making a difference in people's lives. So Heartlines, in partnership with Reda Consult, is offering 12 free slots of counseling every quarter for people in need of professional counseling. Additionally, we're taking on 2 pro bono cases for individuals navigating a challenging divorce. To participate, please send an email to counsel@vedaconsult.com with your story. Our team will carefully review all submissions and will contact all the shortlisted candidates. Heartlines is live Mondays to Fridays at 10 p.m., so engage with us.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's our Hot Topic special this Friday. Zambia just did something bold, and they gave women a day off every month for period pain. Yes, you heard that right. It's called Mother's Day, and it's not about gifts or breakfast in bed. It's a legit policy that says if you're cramping and cranky, take the day, no questions asked. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, the closest many women get to menstrual sympathy at work is being told to drink hot coffee and manage it. So today, we're asking the big question. Should Nigerian companies provide menstrual leave too? Is it a step towards fairness or a fast lane to workplace drama? Of course, we'll be digging into the pros, the cons, the myth, the stigma, and of course, we want to hear from both the ladies and the audience or the viewers who will be here today. Let us face whether to menstruate is a conversation that actually affects us all. All right, God's beauty. Are you ready for today's conversation?
Yes, I'm ready.
Now, I first had to look at the dynamics of both nations. So Zambia, of course, is not, it's a great country and they're doing awesome and all of that. But their workplace structure, I wouldn't say is as intense as the Nigerian workplace structure and the systems that operate in both countries. So having to see this kind of initiative, people can feel like some concerned women in the Nigerian workplace will be like, oh, this is something that should be initiated here, but Nigeria, people want to just blame Nigeria and everything. Right. So first of all, do you think that people, let's ask this question firstly. Is period pain, should it become a major concern in workplaces?
Yes, to some extent. So honestly, right, when I saw this, the story, I felt like it was an interesting one. Why? Because again, if you're in Nigeria, Lagos to be precise, because that's literally like the city I'm in, you understand that a lot of SMEs are more concerned about getting the work done and let's keep it moving. They really don't care about the health of their of people that work with them and all, which is something that, people are supposed to be, concerned, especially bosses, given that you want the best out of your staff, right? You want them to be productive and all. So you're supposed to also look out for the ways at which they'll be, okay in their skin for them to be productive, exactly. So honestly, like I said, to some extent, yes, because I feel like this is something that many people don't talk about. So, I mean, that's the reason why we're even, having the conversation in the first place. A lot of bosses just, like I said, they are just more concerned about, have you done this thing? If you're not done, why haven't you done it? Very rigid and all of that. So, I have this mindset of this belief system that you should just be more concerned about, okay, I really don't care about what you do, but I just want you to allowing you to be, to be free. Whatever that you feel like, you need to be able to do something right, please go ahead. Do you understand? And I feel like that's how it should be. Now, coming back to giving leaves and all, I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday. And speaking of the whole traffic, whatever, he got home so late, like at night and all. And guess what? Only for the HR to just send message and like, oh, until this whole traffic thing is reduced, you guys should stay at home, work from if they want leave. You ask them if some people it's the money, understand? It's the money that do the work. Someone like me is the money, baby. I can do the whole hours. Just give me more money. That's for me. Do you understand? Yeah. Person. So it's always important that you communicate with the people you're working with, because then you understand what exactly they need to stay well. I remember having a conversation with any person and they're like, oh, in their office they're allowed to do some certain kind of smoking. They have something. Yeah, again, it's what there are different sectors.
You see where liberality should be questioned.
No, it's a lie.
What a lie.
I don't think so. See, again,
I think that's a topic already on its own.
On its own. See,
that's where liberality needs to be questioned. And that's why I have a problem. Because you do not want to mention it very boldly, because you know it's a very controversial thing. Why would you say there should be corners where people are doing what? That's not good.
No. See, Luchi, let me be very honest. I think I've said to some persons, if that's what makes you okay, my own is do my job and I pay you. If you feel like this is what will make you be who you are and for you to be productive, maybe go ahead. Yes, that's why we're talking about the leave. So see, there are women that they don't have pain when they're on their period and all. Why there are some of us like some people like us that would pray, would kabash, will need all the hands, will do all the hugging so we can feel fine. Do you understand? In such scenarios or in such situations, if they feel like they need to take a leave or a day or two for them to come back to work looking good, yes. Honestly speaking, when I saw like the story, right, I feel like this is something that I believe all bosses should know by now. Let me before, like, again, maybe that's how I think or that's how I see things. I've said it in this table before. I am more concerned about wherever makes you happy to deliver the job. My own is do your job, finish. If you need to go up and down for you to get that done, please.
You know, the thing is, that means I want you to consider this critically. If you're not concerned about people doing the job, you are taking away the process of actually getting job done. To me, I feel like in every workspace, it's not just about the ROI we're generating, the number of clients that you have brought into this company and all of that.
So it's what exactly?
Process and journey to achieving certain things is very important, because at the end of the day, if you are building something very long term, you need to set the kind of structure that can stand the test of time. So you mentioned something that made me feel a bit edgy right now, and that's the fact that people are more concerned with let's just get the job done however you want to do it. Let me play this scenario for you now. Let's say in a workplace, in a rigid workplace where there's a lot of critical thinking, right? And logical thinking, and then somebody there just feels like, for me to get this job done, I have to play loud music and be jumping up and down. That's how I come into the mood to be able to finish my accounting work. You know, that seems like the boss should look at that. Oh, since this will help you get the job done, let me allow this to happen.
But you can't
to the detriment of others.
No.
Do you know this is not any different from that one you mentioned about vaping and smoking?
Wait, I did not say vaping.
No, let's be open and clear.
Okay, so
there are such things like that
This is it. Now, in every institution or in every workplace or every company, they have like, a special area where, the staffs can go to probably rest or do whatever. I mean, certain places, they will call it probably like the green room or something, where the noise made inside, you cannot literally hear it outside at all. So that's where the staff go, you know, to rest, probably to sleep, probably to rest, probably to, you know, just do whatever that would make you sane. I mean, there was this time where I remember having a conversation with certain persons. I was like, oh, there was this girl that came new to our work, and at first the workload and all was overwhelming for her, that she had to go to the restroom and stay there for complete 2 hours.
Doing what?
Well, because she needed to be sane.
Okay.
She just went there because of like the quietness and everything, for her to be able to be okay. And guess what? After those 2 hours of doing whatever that she did in that place to be okay, she came back and she did the job. They literally promoted her for the job. No jokes.
Okay.
So yeah, this is to say that we are different people. I've met people that they can function with, a very noisy environment. There are people that cannot function in a very noisy environment. That's why you also need to understand your staff. You now need to create those, those things, or have some certain kind of policies that can aid them or assist them or help them do whatever. Do you understand? Everybody has different things that would make them productive. There are people that they just need to close their ears for them to be okay. There are people that, everybody has whatever that works for them, honestly speaking.
Whatever
so
that
you
works
as
for
a
them.
boss, trust me, if you want the best out of your staff, is understanding what works for them and giving them just that. I hate to stay in places where they are very rigid or very structured and all, honestly. I'm not saying, I think rigid and structured should not be put together. I hate places where they are very rigid. I would prefer places that are more structured, flexibility, you're saying, and all, than places where it's extremely rigid. You can't literally do certain things, or you can't say certain things because of certain things. Trust me, at the end of the day, I'm literally saying things from the eye of a writer.
Yeah. And
Do you understand? I'm saying things from the eye of a writer. Trust me, you cannot be staying in one particular place for a complete full month and you think you'll be very creative in writing. I'm so sorry, but that cannot happen. But you always be creative when you always go out, you see things, you hear people talk, you see how people do things. It's just like, and the way that particular scene was played, let me even see how the person even wrote this. But I've literally just gotten an IQ on how to, rewrite a script.
Let me cut you very quickly on that. So you've said a number of things. I will agree with some. But I still have a problem with managers just succumbing to the wishes of their staff because they want to see the best out of them. You must know that in the Nigerian workplace, there are a lot of manipulative that this is how I can get the work done. Whereas, if you look critically at the process to which they are doing this, this is not what you want somebody coming into that same office to emulate or have.
Tell me what the processes are, because you've been mentioning processes.
You've mentioned one that really stuck out to me, having to have a place in an office where people can go to drink, to smoke, just because it helps me come alive to do the work well. Now, I know we can stretch, but I don't want to go outside of the conversation that we're having, because workplace has different dynamics to how people work. So today we're concentrating on menstrual pain. And I think there's something we can both agree on this table, is that menstrual pain, or menstruation generally, it varies amongst women, and it's a topic people don't like to discuss. Even from secondary school, I think that's where the problem started. From secondary school, there was this video I watched from a medical content creator, and first she was saying that why do you like to go to a store where it's a female attendant that is there before you can buy your pad? Because it's seen as a shameful thing. I mean, in secondary school then, if you were ever stained, it's as if the world, it's as if it's a murder scene. Like, hey, you've killed somebody, you're going to be arrested. And, all of these things made people not talk about their periods. Do you understand? Sometimes some of them might even have brothers. You can be like just an only girl staying in the house full of brothers, and you can't talk about whatever is happening because it's my period. It's not something they talk about generally. So now, if something as, in quotes, shameful as this happens in the most intimate of gatherings, like family, and maybe school a bit, how do you think it will even be perceived in a workplace where people don't really care about anything that is happening to you? Of course, Zambia has come out to show us that you can actually care, but I have a lot of questions. Firstly, apart from the annual leave that workers get, putting in menstrual leave to as people that are really treasured. So maybe they did see some dynamics happen in the office and like, oh, very boldly, we shouldn't initiate this in Nigeria. Now, I would suggest that probably if I mean, if there are medical practitioners in your office or in your workplace that have come to note certain women that have critical menstrual pain, maybe those ones can be considered. Not for maybe leave like that, but at least to have, you know, like facilities in that workplace that can attend to them. Do you understand what I mean? Yes. So I wouldn't firstly say, oh, every woman, because do you know what that means? Imagine a workplace that have 70% of women. Such claims, it can't hold water. Imagine a workplace that have 70% of women there. And you know how women are. There's this myth. This is a myth, guys. That when women stay together, many times they see their period together.
Are you shouting me?
See, I have seen it happen in real life. But I don't yet know the scientific way to explain it. That's why I want to say it's a myth. But I've seen it happen in real life. In my hostel then, you know, saying, okay, I think we have a comment here from Cardio Care. He says, I think during interviews, things like this should be discussed. Yes, very amazing. This will help both parties to know what's going to work for both of them and what won't work before being employed. Yes,
exactly.
And workplaces should start having facilities where people can go to the clinic. I know there's HMO where you take them outside, but in the workplace, we should start having facilities like that. It's going to be a stretch because are you going to tell startups that don't have investors yet?
Do you understand?
We need to have a facility here for that. We have another comment from Cardio Care. He says, this is where questions like, what are your strengths and weaknesses come in? For example, if you think you need to take alcohol or smoke before you can be at your best at work, say it. If I'm the interviewer, I'm so sorry. If that's what you said, I'll say look elsewhere. I'm sorry. I want to say look elsewhere.
But honestly, you cannot take that out.
I can take it out very clearly.
I think again it depends on the kind of work.
This is something to be
there are certain offices that they will probably do that later, like in the evening before they go or something. They just probably rest. Again, see, allow people breathe. Coming back to the
your work
only
to
thing.
breathe. Your legacy will breathe by the time you allow people to breathe. Managing people means you don't have to always succumb to what they want. You have to wisely.
It is finding a balance. That's what
people breathe.
That's why I'm so happy with what this person stated. If you
your fan.
I don't even know the person. But if you listen or just as you've read it, you understand that you cannot really take that out. And that's why there's a place for conversation. Do you understand? What exactly do you think you need for you to be productive? There are certain persons that will tell you listening to music. There are certain persons that will tell you, oh, me being on my own. There are certain persons that will tell you in a very cold environment. There are certain persons that will tell you where everywhere is lively and all. Do you know that there are people that cannot function when they don't communicate with people around them? Exactly. That's why most of them will not always want to go for like a remote job. They prefer to go for a 9 to 5 because they are always seeing people. They're always meeting. Yes, there are people like that. So we are different. Exactly. You cannot take that out. Coming back to the whole leave thing, right? I feel like I said, in an institution or in a company, I don't think, being heavy on that menstrual leave and all of that, like you said, it's not very feasible or very realistic.
But this I think
this is what I think can happen, right? If someone complains, and that's why for me, I'm always going to go for flexibility. And someone says that, oh, this is what is going on with me, and this is how I feel. Can you work from wherever you are? And do you think you'll be very productive? If you say yes, please go. Yes. I am so open-minded. I have a belief system that. So if somebody feels like, oh, she's having certain kind of thing or she's in pain, and it will not help her with whatever that she needs to do. If she feel like, okay, staying at home or doing whatever would help her, please
get the work done. And because you have been hitting this, I'll also hit my own claim. Getting the work done doesn't mean I am taking away certain company values that we hold very dearly. And I'm going back to that example that you gave us. That's what is making strong claim. Right. For example, let's say this company that we're in is a family kind of brand or a healthcare brand, right? And maybe your position in that company is not really in line with the family healthcare. Maybe it's the tech area.
tech area.
But you feel like, you know, I like to vibe and do things the way I am. I think this company should have a location, a green room, red room, white room, or whatever room where I can be able to let steam off. I feel like, no, if I'm a manager and I have to have people work with me, apart from competence, you know, we've had this discussion before, I am looking at values that align. Maybe not character now, values that align with what this organization is standing for. Because if you're all about just getting the job done, I feel like getting the job done is still stage one. For every company that is thinking of getting the job done or having return on investment, there's still a long-term thing where you want to build a structure that will last. And you can't build a structure that will last if you have people that they don't care much about the process to how things are done, but how things are just done. That's almost, you know, it's almost similar to what how people pass exams these days. It's just about having A's. You don't know how I had that A. Whether I was with, what's that thing, microchip in the hall. Maybe I had the A. I told my parents I had the first class. You don't know how I came about it. So I'm not very concerned with getting the job done, seeing the most of skilled, competent people. What value are you bringing? Does it align with the brand value? Does it align with what we do here?
But that, I mean, just like, you know, Ricardo actually already stated,
it's how we have moved away from the conversation.
No, I mean, they're all together, you guys. Yeah. But that's why, you know, we are having the conversation from the interview stage.
Yeah.
What exactly you know, what are your value systems?
I think I'll be a wicked interviewer.
See, I'm flexible to the core. That's it for me.
I'm rigid.
When it comes to process, at first you're not doing anything illegal. You're not doing anything that will destroy the brand's identity and all of that. Please, by all means, do whatever.
Do you. Do what works. So,
exactly.
So, wrap up the conversation very quickly. We have been, still to bring it back home, because we did a bit of deviation as, you know, as we deemed
It's part
fit.
of the conversation.
It's part of the conversation, but, you know, we're focusing on menstrual leave. So I was now thinking that imagine that this was even like implemented in workplaces where certain women can take leave, even though we know that is very far-fetched. I mean, maybe when in 50
Again, it
years...
might also be like, how many days? We have 5 to 7, but, I mean, approximately, right? But again...
What's the peak period of your pain?
Exactly. Because to some people were like, at the beginning time, probably the first 2 days, then the rest are like, fine.
Great.
There are some that it's probably towards the end. I mean, it varies.
My own question is, firstly, let me first say that people, I will say size the whole 1 week. Because I want to rest.
You're part of the issue.
Yes, and there are many people like me. I'll say, sir, from Monday to Friday, it is one.
I don't go well.
But I want to ask, but do you really think women want to take this kind of leave? Remember, we are talking of a society where women are trying as much as possible to be at, you know, equal status with the men. And many times it's seen in the kind of productivity that is being done and the effort they put into their work. That's why we've seen some unhealthy competition in the workplace where a woman wants to be promoted and then there's a man equal there that also deserves that promotion. And because she wants to prove that I can do this and supersede.
And do it well.
Do you think women like that are considering productivity in mind who want to consider this kind of leave?
So,
remember, it could make them look like weaker vessels in the workplace.
That's the problem. But again, it goes back to why exactly are we doing this? Why exactly are you know, seeking for this leave or talking about it? It's so that women can be more productive. Do you understand? Yes. If some women feel like I need to take that leave in order for me to be more productive and all, please go ahead. The people with the wrong mindset will always think their point. Do you understand?
Yeah,
which is women are weaker, women are whatever. So the truth is, policy that is stated, men, I mean, the people with that wrong mentality would always still have that. Do you understand? So we cannot take that out. Do you understand? I feel like, I mean, we all know how we love public holiday in this country. Let's not lie. Any small public holiday, we use that as a chance to rest and die. That's how it is.
Self-care.
Yes, self-care. So if we, I mean, I feel like giving women that opportunity, many women will grab it. In short, having that notion that, oh, you don't need this leave or whatever so that you can be able to beat a man. To me, it's more like you saying that you actually cannot beat him, and you're already taking the fallen toe. That's what it is. But if you have the mindset of regardless of what's going on, you can beat this guy, you will beat him regardless of whether there's a leave or not. It's simple.
I'm going to take a more objective approach to this and say that this is not realistic in the workplace that we have today. And the fact that even though this seems like a good initiative to ensure productivity, I think it can largely be abused in the kind of space that we are in, because it's not really realistic. How many in fact, normal annual leave in a company, some companies will still, you still find them doing shady stuff with annual leave that is legit and accepted. Then you're not putting menstrual leave. They'll be like, if you're not fit for this job, you can drop your resignation letter. And there are many women that have the same pain as you are that will readily want to have the job. So I would just give this suggestion that in many workplaces, we need to have facilities, health facilities that takes care of women should cases like this occur. Of course, this is where we wrap up our show today. It's been exciting. It's been a great banter with God's beauty. And of course, to those of you who've commented, we are going to see you on Monday again, through to Friday next week, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Have a great weekend.